This is how to make an absolute French classic, le tarte tatin. Hi there guys and welcome back to the channel and my amazing attempt at a French accent, but today I'm going to show you one of the classics in French cooking, the tarte tatin. This is an amazing recipe and the basic concept of this dish can be made with pretty much anything you want. So let's start with 220 grams of flour. Into that, we're going to add 110 grams of cold butter, then 30 grams of sugar and a pinch of salt. Make sure you cover the top of the food processor with your hand, otherwise the flour will try to escape. We're going to give that a little pulse together just to start binding it before we add a little trickle of cold water. You don't want much, about 2 tablespoons. And then pulse it again until it forms a nice dough, and then we're going to empty it out onto a work surface. And we're just going to knead it together just a little bit, not too much because we don't want to use our hands to melt the butter, but just enough so it all comes together and you can form it into a nice smooth disc like this. And once you have the disc, we're going to cover it in plastic wrap and we're going to leave it in the fridge to rest for about 20 to 30 minutes. Now onto the tarte tatin, you need to use a pan without a plastic handle, something that you can put into the oven, so make sure you've got a nice solid pan, and to the bottom of that we're going to add 150 grams of unsalted butter. Make sure the butter is soft enough to mould and we're just going to lay it across the bottom of the pan, pressing it down quite firmly. Then sprinkle over 50 grams of sugar, some cinnamon, some nutmeg, and yes, you've caught me out, it's not fresh this time, sorry about that. Then grate over some freshly cracked black pepper and some Maldon sea salt. Then because vanilla beans are so expensive at the moment, there's nothing wrong with using vanilla extract, so we're going to drizzle over a little bit of that. And finally, grate over some lemon zest, so give it a beautiful, nice, fresh lemony hit. Then we're going to go with 3 medium-sized bananas, and we want to cut them fairly evenly so that the pastry will lay nice and flat across the bottom. First, trim off the ends, and then cut them in half, and then we're going to cut each half into thirds. So you end up with nearly all the pieces pretty much even. And then we're just going to stick them into the butter, pushing quite firmly to actually stick them in there, but not so much as to actually bruise the fruit. Making sure to fill in all the gaps with them extra little bits of bananas that you have as well. And then to finish, we're just going to top with some more cracked black pepper, a little bit more cinnamon, and we're going to add some sultanas. This will give it a beautiful little burst of sweetness through the dish. And now the pastry is rested, we're just going to roll it out into a nice thin sheet. So just start by giving it a few taps with the rolling pin until it becomes flat enough to actually start rolling out, and then realise, oh, you've forgotten to flour the work surface, and this is what happens. So life advice, flour your work surface and stay in school. Now that we've got all our surface nice and floured and we're rolling it out into a nice thin layer, about half a centimetre thick. But when you do roll it out, make sure you're rolling it out to a lot more than what you actually need for the pan. So place your pan over the top right now and cut round the outside just to get rid of that extra little bits of flappiness. Then roll it over your rolling pin and then drape it over the pan. It just makes it easier to transfer across. And then with the end of a spoon, you just want to be tucking this pastry into the side where the butter meets the bananas. So just take your time with this, folding it just underneath with the spoon, something like this. But you want to make sure you have enough pastry around the edge to form the crust. And then we're just going to give it 3 little steam holes. This will stop the pastry being soggy on the inside. And then we're going to take it to the hob and put it on a medium-low flame and let all that sugar caramelize with the butter and the bananas. And you're looking for a nice nutty brown colour before we stick it into the oven at 180 degrees for 20 to 25 minutes, or until you get it nice and golden brown. And now we're going to make a simple custard to go with it. So into a pan, we're going to pour equal amounts of milk and cream, so that's 200 millilitres each, and we're going to take that to the hob, but don't let it boil, just bring it up to a good temperature. And then in a separate dish, we're just going to whisk up together 2 egg yolks and 30 grams of sugar. Start whisking together and make sure you get it all nice and fluffy and airy, and you'll see the colour change from like a dark yellow to a light yellow. So when we have that and the milk and cream mixtures come up to temperature, bring it across, and we're going to add a touch of the hot milk into the eggs to temper them so they don't shock them straight away and start turning into scrambled egg. So you want to touch in and just whisk. Make sure you keep whisking and whisking and whisking and bringing them eggs up to temperature. Then once they're ready, put them back into the other mixture and we're going to take it back to the hob and we're just going to warm it through slowly, and this will start to thicken. This is creating a beautiful creme anglaise, and it's such a beautiful thing that the French even named it after us. But you'll know you've got the right consistency when it coats the back of a spoon. You don't want it too thick, you want it nice and runny. And don't forget to taste test, and yeah, this was good. So now we're taking it out of the oven, it's all nice and brown and crusty. This is the moment of truth. Get yourself a plate, place it over the top, turn it over, hold it up, and then pray. Oh, look at that, that is absolutely stunning. Yes, beautiful, perfect. The caramelization on the bananas, beautiful. And then just to top this, we've flambéed a little bit of rum. You can see the beautiful flame trickling over the top. It's going to give it an amazing little kick. And would you just look at that on the close-ups, it's so sticky and gooey and beautiful, perfect caramelization on the outside, and that crust is amazing. Them steam holes really are important to stop the pastry being soggy. And yep, it's that time again, you get to see me slice off a bit, cover it in creme anglaise, and now you're going to get to see me eat it. And Wow, incredible. This works amazing with all different types of fruits, so get experimenting. Try all sorts. The pear is a classic, an apple is a classic, but you can use whatever you want. But if you like this video, please hit the like button, subscribe, support the channel. I'll see you all in the next one, and remember to just keep cooking.